So Family Video is closing 200 stores, and this hits home because first off, Family Video is headquartered in Illinois, and so that was the main video store, at least for me growing up. I got to be honest with you guys. I can't speak for you two. I was only ever in a Blockbuster a couple times. It was mainly Family Video. Like, I can't relate to, like, everybody, like, oh, I got the Blockbuster card in my wallet. I didn't go to Blockbuster very much. And then there was that whole controversy in the early days. They were kind of like Walmart and censoring their movies and stuff, so that off-put me a little bit as well. Family Video was the place to go for a Midwestern kid. And it is, to date, the last American video rental chain that is active. Hollywood Video's gone, Blockbuster's gone, save for the one in Bend, Oregon, I believe. And they announced this week that they're closing 200 stores. That leaves about 300 locations, again, mostly in the Midwest. All the ones around us in DuPage County in Illinois are closing. The one out by me, actually out here in the sticks, the one out here actually closed last year, I remember. They had a going out of business sale. And I'll start by saying this before we get into kind of the nostalgic. I want everybody to share a memory from Family Video. I probably should have prefaced that. We're all going to share a little memory from Family Video. Just one. Pick a good one. But Family Video, there's always the question of how did they stick around for so long? You know, streaming's been a thing for almost a decade now in some capacity. How did they stick around? They had a really smart, adaptive business model that kept them afloat for years. Fun fact, I don't think a lot of people know this. They own the real estate on which they operated. They own that plot of land that was usually connected to another store or two. They often partnered with their neighboring businesses. Oftentimes it was a pizza joint like Marco's Pizza or Beggar's Pizza or one of those. They often partnered with them to increase sales so that they would like recommend a movie rental with the pizza order and then deliver them together simultaneously.
That's cool.
So, yeah. So I read into this a long time ago. They also, too, and this is an important thing to note, they bought their stock. If they got 70 copies of The Lion King on DVD and Blu-ray, they bought those. So they kept all the rental and purchase money. Think if they buy 70 copies of Lion King and they get rented out 100 times each, you're making money hand over fist at a certain point, and then you go and sell them eventually. You sell off the excess. They had a very smart, savvy business model, and ultimately it was a place of discovery, I think, for somebody like me who was infatuated with movies at a young age. I'll quit talking over here. I'll share my memory last. Dominic, your thoughts on Family Video, and please, oh please, treat me to a loving memory of little Dominic wandering the halls of Family Video.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll start off by just preferencing that it was definitely Family Video, way over Blockbuster. I think I've gone to the Blockbuster 3 times in my entire life. That's how little I went into it. It was all Family Video, and we went there a lot as a family. Honestly, it would be my dad specific. So my dad is a huge like just consumer of movies. I hesitate to say cinephile because he's not actually that big into like critiquing movies or like really taking them in. But for them, it's just like potato chip. He just freaking takes. So he loves streaming, by the way, in case you were wondering. But in terms of the coming with that from Family Video, yeah, I remember we would go there like every other day or something, maybe like every 3 days, but it felt like every other day. And it would be my dad just scanning the walls, looking for something stupid. It would usually be something actually serious he wanted to see, so like a relatively new release or something, and then 2 like dumb movies that he would just put on in the background or he just watch passively. And then for me, straight to the game room, baby. Straight to the video game room because I'm that gamer boy, and get all them scratched up rentals. It was a secretly good day when I got a scratched rental because then I could get 2 for 1. And I could really milk that my time for that. I'll get them report card deals, A+, get them free rentals. Good stuff.
Report card deals, baby. Yeah. Yep.
And actually, before that, I should say, is that kids? Was it always that kids could rent free? I think at one point they switched to kids could rent not video games for free, but kid movies for free. That's where I watched Land Before Time, was through VHS. That's where I watched through Family Video VHS, I should say. Feifel, An American Tale, Feifel 1 and then 2, Feifel Goes West, and all that stuff, all those classic movies. And just that is a significant part of my life through probably high school, like from childhood. It was going to family video as far back as I remember. I can't remember my first time going into a family video because that is how ingrained it was into my family's lifestyle. So, oh yeah, sorry, specific memory. I guess I'll go with going to them back doors, going to these saloon doors. I should be honest. They did have a sign. So when I went to the family video I went to frequented, the bathroom, which I had to ask the key for, the bathroom was right next and very clearly visible next to the adult video section, which was hidden behind the saloon doors. So I went to the bathroom.
They were gray saloon doors more
often. Gray saloon doors. I couldn't find them online, but they were pretty much like these. And so I asked the guy for the key to the bathroom. Yeah, sure, here they are. Cool, thank you. Went to the bathroom, finished up in there, and I was like, what are those? That looks cool. So I went through the saloon doors, and believe it or not, this must sound like me making an excuse. Believe it or not, I actually completely missed the thing where it said adult videos, adults only, or whatever. I didn't even know. I wasn't even reading the videos that were there or DVDs that were there. I was just playing with the saloon door, and I was going back and forth pretending I was a cowboy, not paying attention to what was beyond the doors. And then my dad was like, what the hell is my kid? So then he found me. He's like, I thought you went to the bathroom. He found me playing the saloon doors. And he's like, hey, don't go back there. What are you doing? I know what you're doing. I'm like, no, I don't know what's going on. I was seriously just playing with the saloon doors. And it's like, you know what's back there? No, I don't. So naturally, the next time we went, I actually went in there with a curious mind to see what was back there. I'm like, oh, this is the bad stuff, aka the good stuff. So then, this was Steve's stuff back in the day. I guess we'll get there. We'll get there.
Why gotta say it like that, bro? Why you gotta say
but yeah, that was my story, which was my innocence being lost to the wild west of adult film.
Joe, your family video story.
Well, this is gonna shock you. I'm the complete opposite of you guys. I was a Blockbuster kid, man.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Hollywood video.
And I was a Hollywood video person too.
Okay.
Like, in my neighborhood, I grew up in Streamwood, and we didn't have a family video. We had a Hollywood video next to a Jewel Osco, and next to a CC's Pizza, and in a Blockbuster next to a Home Depot, next to a Zippy Zeros. That's like
God, that's so Midwest. Jesus Christ,
that could be
so
millions
Midwest.
of places in the Midwest.
Like, but like that like, you know, that gives you a general idea. Like, yeah, I'm in the Midwest, and of course, but we just didn't have a family video. My first time actually going to a family, and this is why I was so shocked hearing about, like, you got to rent movies for free as a kid. There was a report card thing. Wait, you could get like a deal with a pizza, and they deliver the movie with your pizza. It's like,
yeah,
dude, that's sick. I don't know why my family never got into it, but the first time I went to a family video was actually in 2016. I went with a couple friends. They were like, yeah, we're going to rent a movie. And here's me, not knowing that this whole chain doesn't exist. And I'm just like, oh, so we're going to go to Redbox? No. Okay, where the hell we're going? Family video. I'm like, the hell is family video? I walk in there, and it brought me back to Blockbuster days. I'm running through the aisles like, oh my god, this is exactly like Blockbuster, but like, there's so much more here now. And yeah, like ever since 2016, I actually like went myself and would just rent out movies on my own because, like, you know, if you couldn't find it on Netflix, if I couldn't find it on any other streaming service, I went there immediately. It sucks to hear that, like, they are closing 200 locations. It's glad to hear that they still have 300 plus more locations still open. But still, it sucks that the ones around us have closed down because it's just like, damn, if there was a business I thought would actually kind of stay afloat during the pandemic, it would be the one where you get entertainment from like every week or every day whenever you need it.
Now selling CBD as well. CBD was a huge part of their attempt to stay relevant. If you know, I didn't even read anything about that. I just noticed it, like passing by all the family videos. Like, damn, they're really pushing the CBD thing.
CBD, disc repair, and some locations computer repair were there three methods of salvation there, or your preservation, if you will.
But yeah, for me, I mean, like that's basically my story. Is that I discovered him in 2016, and ever since then, I was just like, well, hell, I gotta keep going to these until eventually the one I was going to closed down, which is like right down the street from Bartlett, and it's kind of like in West Chicago, I think is where I was at. The one I used to go to. But yeah, that was basically my story. I didn't grow up with it, so sorry. I don't have the saloon story like Dom.
That's okay.
Or anything. Like I knew what was back there in that room, and I was just like, okay, cool. It's got one of those here.
I think Dom's picturing me, and he's probably not far off me walking back there as like 5 years old, and like the angelic like Pulp Fiction briefcase gold light shining on me when I get back there. I'm like, I swear it's the first time I found out what a woman looks like. I'll say that much. But anyway, no, moreover, it was honestly for me, Family Video was a lot of things. It was a place of discovery. Dom, I don't know if you remember this little tidbit. It's not my main point, but they also had, besides like the free rentals, report cards and all that, free rentals for kids, the report card. I remember mine back home. They had a gumball machine, big ass gumball machine. And what it was there was always a color of a gumball, and it was a big one too, because when you would put the quarter and dispense it, it would roll down this big ramp before it got to you. So it was like entertainment too. There was a color gumball, and you got like 2 tries to try to get that color. If you got that color, you got a free movie. And Jesus Christ, it might as well have been Christmas Day, the day you got that colored gumball, and you could pick it out. I mean, by the time you pick out the movie, by the time you go from getting the gumball, putting it in your mouth, and picking out a movie, the gumball would have already lost flavor. But who cares? Like that was
the gumball loses flavor.
I just imagine Steve got the gumball, and they're like, "Oh, what free movie do you want?" He slams open the saloon door.
Pacific Rim job, please. That's what I.
Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Busty Cops 2.
Hey, Jim Wynorski, Busty Cops, good movie. Anyway, no, it was a place of discovery for me. Ultimately, it was honestly a discovery of horror films, because they had a rich selection of weird ass horror movies and erotic thrillers. Like not the stuff in the saloon door. I'm talking like, carnal sins and like stuff that you could get away with on Showtime. But for horror movies, it led me to discover one of my favorite horror movies, Santa's Slay, S-L-A-Y, with Bill Goldberg as a killer Santa Claus. The Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey playing a killer gingerbread man.
Jack Frost?
Jack Frost, hell yeah. I didn't even write that one down, but Jack Frost with the hologram VHS cover.
Yes! I was about to say, I would play with that thing for like minutes at a time.
And I remember the day that I walked in there. I was like 8 years old, and the jag-off behind the counter wouldn't let me rent Jack Frost. So I went outside. My mother's in the car, and I got my mother in there to rent Jack Frost for me. It was so prideful, that moment. And then also, my last thing I'll share, I remember being obsessed with Tremors as a kid. And I remember going to Family Video soon after with my mother. Would you believe they had all 4 Tremors movies? At the time, there were only 4. They had all 4 Tremors movies, VHS, $3 a piece. And my mother got them for me, because I think I had like enough for 2 of them. My mother's like, I'll buy you the other 2. I'm like, that was the place where I would go and just roam. My mother used to get pissed at me because I would just go around. It was like sensory overload for somebody like me, because I was always looking at like the weird stuff I either couldn't really watch or like I'd never heard of before. And like people at school, you wonder why I haven't seen like Disney classics like Sleeping Beauty and stuff. They're like, Steve, what'd you watch? I watched Uncle Sam, about a killer Uncle Sam that like maimed people for being unpatriotic. How was your weekend? That I will dearly miss Family Video. I went to the last couple locations that were still open. I was home this past week, and I went there to get a couple deals. My God, I didn't get a ton of like noteworthy stuff because it was all really picked through, and it was frankly pretty depressing. I'm not going to lie. And Dominic, you'll like this anecdote. My last point, I had a lot to say on this, more than I thought. My last point, I went to the one Family Video. It was in Downers, not the one I normally go to. It was one further away. I went there, and I thought about it, because I'm like picking around and stuff, and I'm like, I wonder if they got anything in the adult section. I went around the corner, and there was a sign on the saloon doors that said, "Doors sold to John, $50."
Dude, I'm glad someone got it. I'm happy. I'm sad that you didn't get it, but I'm happy someone got it. John, if you're watching this, congrats. That is Midwestern history. You keep that.